Here is the inverter and drive off of that motor we've been talking about. This is the lid. So this area right here is where the user interface would be. There would be a little door that flips up. You'd have some buttons and a screen, and you'd be able to set all your parameters and see what the motor was doing and all that stuff. It was never meant to be a standalone motor, and you can see they just have a plug where the cable would go through. This is the drive interface board, and right here are your discrete inputs. So that's where I should be able to hook up just a switch or a relay or whatever I wanted to do, and each input should be keyed to a specific RPM. These pretty robust drive. Underneath it here are some really humongous capacitors. I see a couple of inductors down in there. I've had the lid off of this. I'm not going to take it off now. It's too much work. This is where your line voltage will go in. This is where your RS-485 cable would go in, and it would hook up right here. So you'd have your ground and an A and B right there, the first three from the bottom. And should be simple. Like I said, on newer versions of this, you have to go into the setup and you have to actually tell the interface board that you're not going to be using this, that you're going to be using these. And there's no way to do that on this because we have no interface. I've got a VFD here that I bought off the Jungle website. It was about 85 bucks. The Jungle website, let me give credit where credit's due. This is Derek Bierry from Vice Grip Garage saying I stole that. And here's the motor with the VFD that came from the factory removed. It's over there and sitting on top of a box. And it's just a three-phase motor, doing three-phase motor stuff. Here's the rating label. You get no information off of this because the input voltage for this is just regular old single-phase 230. Actually, that's not the rating label. Let's go around the other side of the motor. Out of the box, this wouldn't run on its defaults. You've got to set these motors up to run, and I was just guessing at a lot of these parameters. Some of them I knew, other ones I just kind of trial and error. So get in here, the first parameter is going to be the line voltage, which here it's probably actually more around 235 to 240. I just left it at 220. That's the factory, that's the default setting. The second parameter, I'm sorry, the next parameter, which would be P001, is going to be the frequency of the input voltage, of the line voltage, which here in the United States is 60. The next parameter is going to be the intermediate voltage, which I had to do a little bit of trial and error fiddling around with, and the motor was really noisy. Default is 110 volts. This motor was sounded like it was going to throw a rod. It sounded like an engine, like an internal combustion engine that was going to throw a rod with the intermediate voltage set at 110. So just through trial and error, I got it down to 42.6, and she runs really nice and quiet. I don't know what I just hit there. Let's go back here. So the next parameter I don't have set, and P04 would be the minimum voltage, and I've just got that set at 0. This is going to be the maximum frequency, 42.6, so that'll be the max speed on the pump. And then I think we skipped over 5. So that is going to be, I think minimum frequency that the motor can run at. It won't run below 14.3. It really doesn't want to start operating below 20. And go back. I think that's going to be 8. Nope. Yeah, it's 7. So it really doesn't want to start below 20. One of my neighbors driving by with his noisy car. So that's pretty much how we got this bad boy running. So that's max speed. And that's minimum speed. We can stop it. We can reverse it. If you watch the screen here, another parameter that you can set that I just left at the factory settings is the deceleration. So if you watch that screen, when I hit end, it's not just going to shut off. It is going to slow itself down. Now those parameters wouldn't be something you'd be setting in the field. They would already be preset from the factory. The manufacturer of the entire component would have had it all worked out, and you would have just, run button and timer and things like that. So let's go ahead and run this guy. So there's 20. She doesn't like it above 43. Makes a little bit of noise. Now another thing I've programmed in here is to decelerate. Let's run it in reverse, see what happens here. Runs in reverse, which you can't do with a single phase motor either. See, it's run fine in reverse at 45. I'm glad I bought this inverter. It's cheap, but it'll be a good diagnostic tool. So if I got into the field and I have one of these variable speed pumps that's not running, I'll actually be able to hook up to just a 3-phase section of the motor and see if the motor itself actually works, or if it's a problem with the VFD, the inverter, and that'd be a good diagnostic tool. I'd like to come across, say, a burned up or mechanically damaged newer version of this Power Defender, one of the pool pumps, so I can snatch the drive interface board and the user interface off of it and see if I could actually get that drive working again back on this motor. That'd be pretty cool. And see if I could actually hook that one up to run the discrete inputs and work with any control that I wanted it to.